Hello, I'm Abby Jones.
Hello, I'm Lori Perkins.
And we're here to talk to you about what a good lead teacher and co-teacher relationship looks like. I have been co-teaching with Ms. Perkins for the past 4 years, so we have a lot of experience together, and we think we've developed a pretty good system and wanted to share our highlights with you.
So the key to any good relationship as a teacher, as you all know, is communication. I think that that is the number one thing that we do really well, is we communicate all the time. We text each other, we call each other, we communicate about everything, whether it's about the kids, whether it's about with the lesson plans, anything we're going to do that day or upcoming weeks, whatever it's going to be, we talk about everything and we share everything.
Especially with parent emails too. If a parent has been contacting me, I forward it to Ms. Perkins, she'll forward to me so that we're both on the same page about what the parents have communicated with us, what the students have been saying, always talking to each other about what can we do to reach our kids better.
If we have a parent that asks for a phone conference, we sit down together and make those conference calls together so that we're always communicating as a team and that we always present a united front.
Okay. So here's another set of words that you won't hear in our classroom. We've never said anything, those are your kids versus my kids. There's no differentiating between our gen ed and SPED in the classroom. Most of our students don't know that we have, like why we have a co-teacher. They don't understand that they could single out any kid because the way we treat them, they're all my kids and they're all her kids equally.
And if they ask, I'll say things to kids about, well, sometimes children have hearing difficulties or they have vision problems, and I can do things to help with the font on the computer or special things to maybe help them hear a little better, amplification devices, things like that. And they don't need to know that those things are happening in the classroom. And sometimes they'll look for it and sometimes they won't. But just being here to help every kid, and they all appreciate whatever you do for them.
Another phrase we don't use is real teacher. If a student says, who is the real teacher in this classroom, we say both of us are. They don't need to know lead teacher from co-teacher. We are both equally real teachers. So that's not a phrase that you'll ever hear out of either of our mouths.
We're both going to make you do the work, and we're both going to discipline you if you don't.
Yep, agreed. And then the last phrase we don't use is small group testers. We don't want the kids to feel singled out and know why they're small group testers. So the very first test, we have 2 seating charts, and we call them Ms. Perkins' team and Ms. Jones's team.
And we pick our teams.
And we pick our teams, and we sometimes say we picked our favorite, so if you're not on my list, it means I don't like you much. Just kidding. But we do pick, like we say that's our direction, and we also have, sometimes we take gen ed kids that need extra support that unit and take them to Ms. Perkins' room, and we switch between them sometimes. So
we switch our teams a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have kids that ask to change teams, and we can allow that sometimes too, depending on how they're doing or what specific needs we see that they develop over the year.
Yeah, and there's some kids that are in the process of RTI that are going to be labeled with different accommodations soon, and they don't have it yet, so we'll take them and do small group testing because we know they're going to need them in the near future anyways.
Now, when the teams get to be too big, if I'm going over the small group that legally we have to accommodate for some of the kids, then I'll have to sit down and have conversations with kids privately and say, look, I can only take a certain amount of kids, I'll get you next time, or if you come see me during advisory or after school, we can do different things for you, but there are limits to what we can do, and I have to have some private conversations to make sure they understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Okay, so these are 3 principles that we kind of believe in our classroom. Not kind of, we do. The first one is what either of us says goes. So if they ask Ms. Perkins, can you go to the bathroom? Or if I can go, either one of us, doesn't make a difference. Whoever you ask first, you're going. So
the answer is the answer.
The answer is the answer. If Ms. Perkins says, no, you can't go, then I also say the same thing. So
you say, well, what did she say?
I say, did you just ask Ms. Perkins that question? She already answered that for you. So we're the same answer from both of us, united front for sure.
But we talk about what our answer is going to be before the kids ask the question, so we know what that's going to be.
Yeah.
The answer is always no, usually.
Right.
Is your work finished? Have you completed 5 problems? We know what questions to ask before the kids ever even ask if they can go to the restroom, and usually we just don't let them go. So it's a united front on that regard as well.
Right. Another thing is that we both believe is any child in the room can succeed every day. Someday they'll be more successful from me, some days they'll be more successful from her, some days they'll be more successful somewhere between the two.
Good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop. Some kids think I'm the good cop, some of them think she's the good cop. So we both reach every kid however we can, different methods, different ways. But we know every kid can succeed, we just have to get it to their level to make it there.
Right.
And then the last one is that we are both here for all the kids. So there's not, okay, Miss Perkins only is in charge of these 6 kids and then the rest of them are mine. They're all of our kids. And we found in some of our classrooms, Miss Perkins has to help some of the gen ed kids more.
Yeah.
They need a lot of support too. So there's no limit on, okay, you're here too, you need both of our helps, like regardless.
I think we make ourselves available a lot to all of them as well. We don't set specific times that the kids can only come and see one of us or the other, but we just say, look, we're here before school, at lunch, during advisory, after school, whatever you need. If you come, one of us is going to be here and we're going to help you.
And sometimes it's the kids with special needs that come to my room and the gen ed comes to her. Like, there's no, you can only go to Perkins or you can only go to Jones. So.
And if one of us can't be here, we'll just tag team and
Yep.
one of us will do it for the other.
There you go. Do you want to go with this one?
Oh, what to do with a sleeping student, that's the worst. I know we all have that problem. Well, I think we try to start it from the beginning of the year. It's not going to happen. These are our rules. The rules are the rules. And so the first time that child puts their head down in the classroom, I go to them very quietly and say, honey, are you okay? I try the mom touch first and say, are you feeling okay? Do you need to go to the nurse? Are you running a fever? Just try to make that connection with them first and say, how you doing? And then Ms. Jones comes along with the more stern, we're not going to do that. We're going to pay attention. And then we use the popsicle sticks in class, of course, where she'll call their name. And your name is going to go back into that jar. And we're going to keep calling your name. And if your head's down, you're going to be the one that we keep calling over and over until you realize that it's your turn today and you're going to participate. And we just keep going until they realize that there's no opting out, that you're going to participate in this class. And then if that doesn't work, then of course we get together in the afternoon and we make that phone call home and we nip it in the bud right from the start so that they don't sleep on us. What do we do after that?
I'd say in class, if we do like usually 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2,
Back and
3,
forth.
and usually after 3, if they're still not having it and they're being disrespectful about it, that might be a need to call in Mr. Foyt or someone to take care of it.
Right.
So
But we stay on it. The discipline has to happen
Yeah.
after that. Because
usually we don't have to get to that point though, because usually they've realized you have 2 teachers that are really wanting you to wake up and get going, and we're not letting you off the hook. So
Right.
usually we can get them then. Okay, so here are a list of things that a co-teacher is not here for. Number 1, Miss Perkins is not here to make copies for me. I am supposed to make my own copies. My Algebra 1 team handles it ourselves. I'm not, can you please run this errand? Can you do this? She is not my secretary. She is not my errand runner. She's supposed to be in class with me as much as we can. With her.
However, if there's an emergency, yes, I go get the copy real fast if we need to do that.
Yes.
Or if I forget to do the hard copy and I need to have that in class that day, yes, I run and do
Yes.
that. But no, she never hands it to me and says, can you go make a copy of this? I didn't do that. She's always prepared. I never have
That's
to
my
make
job,
copies.
not her job. Another thing is grading general education student work.
I don't do that.
That is my job, that is not her job. And I grade, obviously, all of our kids' work, but on tests and things that we've had accommodations, I'll talk with Miss Perkins and we'll agree together on what the right grade should be. But usually I say, okay, how did they do, what do you think? And she has access to the grade book too, so.
She usually does the grade as is. Whatever they get, and we let the child see that. And then they see, okay, I'm struggling and my accommodations haven't been put in or my modifications, whatever we're doing. And then I go back and discuss with them, okay, this is what we're going to do. We talk about the problem. What can you show me that you did do on this or that you did understand? And then we modify the grade from that point. So the child understands, okay, I'm not really doing everything that everyone else is doing, but I am understanding this and I'm getting better.
And the last one is something that, I don't know if people do this, but it's not what they're for. I don't say, Miss Perkins, will you please teach this lesson? I'm going to go to Sonic. So
that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen either of like, well, I have another teacher, she'll just cover the class and I'm going to go do whatever I want to. So I'm the teacher on record, I need to be teaching my class.
We try to be here together all the time.
Yeah, both of us need to be here, so we don't need to have one of us doing errands either way, or grading, or disappearing somewhere. So
Right.
both are here all the time. So those are things that a co-teacher is not here for.
Now, all co-teachers know, especially if you've had the kind of paperwork we've had this year, that there are days that you absolutely have to do your data collection or your documentation during the class period. So yes, there are times when you have to pull to the back of the room and do your X logs or whatever it is. And so Ms. Jones is wonderful. If she's doing an in-depth lesson, I can pull to the back of the classroom and do my whatever I need to do on the computer back there. But you try to stay in the classroom and do that and not leave, and make sure that you're there to help the individuals as that comes along, or be there for your part of the lesson.
The other thing that a co-teacher is here for is small groups and individualized attention in class. Whether it be doing stations and she has one group, I have one group, a group on the Chromebooks, or if it's, okay, we're in class and little Johnny is just not getting it, Miss Perkins will just pull them out in the hallway and be like, okay, we're gonna do this together and we can do this, and she'll bring them back a few minutes later and all good to go. So whatever that needs to look like, we have our own deal. If sometimes it's based on the X tickets from the day before, I go, these 6 kids, Miss Perkins,
They're yours.
They're yours for the day. And it's not always the SPED kids, it's all gen ed, it's everyone. Just whoever the kids were that got a 0, Miss Perkins, please save this.
That's my favorite way to teach, and we do it in 3 stations around the room in here a lot, and I get the sideboard and I have my own workspace and the kids are facing that way, and Miss Jones is usually up here at the smart board and she has her kids facing this direction, and then we have a group on the Chromebook in the back. And I think that we're good about judging the time with each other, and we can just kind of look at each other and say, okay, I need a few more minutes or whatever, and we can keep going that direction. And I think that I'm doing a lower level topic and she's doing more advanced work, and then we can adjust that as we go along based on the needs of the kids as they go around the room. And that's really my favorite way to teach. I think that station teaching does a lot for this group of kids.
Another thing that a co-teacher is here for is to help if situations arise in class. It's really great when you have little Johnny throwing their little tantrum and Miss Perkins can go over and just bring you in the hall, have a little chat, have a come to Jesus meeting, and come back in a few moments later where our class wasn't disrupted. I didn't have to go in the hallway and have class be chaos for a few minutes. We can tag team it and have me go in the hallway and talk, or her go in the hallway and talk, and take care of the little fires before they become big issues.
Fires. It sees that we really do communicate, that we have discussed this, that I know everything that they have said to Miss Jones, that they've had private conversations, that we've already spoken to their parents, that I've read the emails. It just reinforces the fact that, hey, they're both my teacher and that I'm not going to get away with any shenanigans.
And that we're both looking out for them.
Right.
For sure, for sure. And then the other thing is anything that y'all have agreed upon. I know Miss Perkins before, she had an agreement with one of her lead teachers that she did the warm-up every day. And so sometimes if that's what she wants to do in that classroom and that's what the lead teacher wants and you agree upon it, awesome. Something Miss Perkins does in my classroom is with our popsicle sticks, randomly picks certain students to be at the random top of the pile, and Miss Perkins helps to make our questions be more directed at who they need to be directed at that day.
I facilitate the level of the question for who needs what level of question.
Yes. So we manipulate the system a little bit that way. And so that's another thing she does a lot in my classroom. So just things that you've talked about and you agree on, then that's fine. But if I was like, okay, and didn't tell her, okay, you're going to be doing the whole lesson today, good luck, and then just left her, that's not
That wouldn't
okay.
be good for me because I don't enjoy doing the whole group instruction. I get flustered.
Yeah, and so knowing what your strengths are as individual teachers and knowing how to play off of those strengths, Miss Perkins can take things to the very, very bottom and reach those kids, and I can take kids and push them higher where their brains have ever been before, and knowing which kids to push in which directions. Like, that's our strengths, and we know it with each other, and we know, okay, just get the kids to the right teacher for this lesson.
I don't have a problem with playing dumb either. And Miss Jones's IQ is super high, and I can just sit back and say, whoa, Miss Jones, that was so fast. You went way over my head. Can you slow down for those of us in the back that are just blown away by this. And then she'll slow down and some of the kids will be like, oh, thank you, we didn't know what was going on either. And so that helps.
So
with
she'll
some of our
ask
struggling.
questions that we know are the common questions, even though we'll pause and give them wait time, they just don't want to
Still
ask
don't
it.
know.
So Ms. Perkins will ask
The
the
question.
questions that we know they're thinking, and we can do it that way too, so that they think, oh, someone else had the same question.
Someone else can be the dumb one.
Yeah, someone else can ask the dumb questions instead of me. So that's for sure what a co-teacher is here for. And you're here for each other, you're a team, you fight together.
And we have fun.
And we have fun. Also, it's not on the list, but having fun together and like playing off of each other, the kids really like listening to us feed off of each other. So it's always entertaining with a co-teacher for sure.
That's right.
And that's our last slide, because if you have any questions, you can email either of us.
Come
or
see us.
Come see us. We love to talk, as you can tell. And we love to tell you any pieces of wisdom we have learned through our time together. She's obviously had more wisdom than I have, but I learned a lot from Ms. Perkins.
And I've learned a lot from Miss Jones.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.